Hello everyone, welcome to MediaNama. Recently, Google removed two of its apps, Airalo and holafly, from its Play Store following an order from India's Department of Telecommunications. The Telecom Department has said that these apps were offering eSIMs in India without the required permissions. eSIMs are basically digital SIMs that can be downloaded and installed on smartphones. So, what are the government's requirements, and are there any implications of this move? We have with us MediaNama journalist Sarvesh Mathi, who will be breaking it down for us. Hi, Sarvesh. So, why did the government ban only these two specific apps?
So airalo and holafly, they are quite popular among travelers. So basically, these apps let you download a local SIM for the country you're traveling to. Many times, people who travel prefer the local SIMs because it comes with a lower rate for data and it allows local calls. If you have to get an international roaming plan on your India number, it's usually quite expensive. So travelers prefer a local SIM. And for example, if you're going to Singapore and you need a Singapore SIM, you just go on to airalo, you select the Singapore SIM that you want. They'll probably have a couple of plans, like the amount of data and everything. And you download that SIM, and you right away get to install it on your phone because it's an eSIM, and many of the modern smartphones support an eSIM. And when you land in Singapore or wherever you're traveling to, it automatically just starts working as if it's been there all the way. So this is the convenience that these apps offer, and the most popular apps are Airalo and Holofly, while there are many other. I think the government went after these two particular companies because of their popularity, and I think because of the number of people who probably used it. And I am also guessing that the government has some other inside information into how these apps might have been used for fraud. So that's probably why they went after these two apps. The government's reasoning is quite simple. They're saying that if you have to sell a foreign eSIM in India, you need a no objection certificate from the Department of Telecommunication. And Holofly don't have a no objection certificate, and hence they can't sell foreign eSIMs in India. So that's their argument. But if you look deeper, there are the possible concerns over here are quite a lot. As much as I personally enjoy the convenience of these two apps, like I recently, just 3 weeks back, I had used one of them to download a SIM for Thailand, and I was so surprised at how easy it was and how cheap it was. $20, you get a SIM with unlimited data, which you can use for like 2 weeks. The one thing that surprised me was when I bought the SIM, I didn't have to submit any identification document, neither my passport, neither a license. I actually could have just created a fake email address, made an account on Airalo, purchased the SIM, and
Hmm.
installed it. So there's no way they can track who bought the SIM. Maybe through your credit card, but even your credit card, it's quite easy to just get a fake card that you can use to pay because there's no OTP requirement. The card payment
Right.
goes through without OTP. So it's quite easy to get a SIM without actually revealing your identity. And I think that's where the concern is because there are people who might use it for legitimate travel, but there are people who might use it for fraud. For example, if some fraudster wants to, they can go and download an eSIM for India, even though they are sitting in India. And
Hmm.
the actual way for them to get a SIM is either to go to Jio or Airtel or Vodafone and ask for a SIM. When they ask for a SIM this way, you have to submit your KYC documents, you have to submit your
Hmm.
fingerprints, you have to, it goes through various checks and processes. But that same Indian can just go to one of these apps and download an eSIM for India and use that number to carry out frauds. And that I don't want to get into the frauds because there's this so many kinds of frauds. They may just call you and say that they're calling from a bank. They may just call and try to post kind of some kind of urgency saying that this is your insurance provider, you haven't paid. So all kinds of scams are possible. They might even register that number on WhatsApp and carry out scams on WhatsApp. So these are the potential for various scams, and that's I think what the deeper concern is. Alternatively, someone can also purchase a foreign eSIM and enable international roaming on it. So I can buy a SIM for Singapore without having any intention to travel to Singapore, and I just enable international roaming on that SIM to use it within India. Again, this poses the same problem because someone sitting in India is using that number to carry out whatever illegal activities
Hmm.
that they want to, and there's no way for the government to track who bought that SIM because Airalo doesn't have the records of who bought it. Holafly doesn't know who bought it. They'll just say that this email address bought it. That email address could be some random 12345 at gmail.com. So
Hmm.
there's no way to track. I think those are the concerns mainly with why these two apps were
these apps.
blocked.
So, how is it going to affect legitimate users like this
Yeah, so
ban?
legitimate users now will also now have a bigger, because they lose the convenience factor, because now so apart from Play Store, even App Store has blocked it. First was Play Store, and App Store few days later blocked it. So there's no way for now for travelers now to download eSIMs with the convenience that they used to before. They'll either have to go land in the country and go to the physical counter and ask for them to give a SIM, or they'll have to rely on one of the lesser popular apps. Airalo and Holafly have somewhat are trustworthy because they've been used by a lot of people, but there are other smaller apps that also give eSIMs, which are not as well known, so they might have to rely on that. So it's just going to be a little bit more inconvenient for legitimate travelers who would like a local SIM.
Okay, and are we going to see more regulation of these kind of apps that offer eSIM related services, like not
Yeah,
just
I'm
these two?
I'm guessing because of like the way the sudden growth in this foreign eSIM, travel eSIM, the concept which was not there maybe even like 3 years ago. We didn't have this concept of downloading your eSIM and then traveling to the country. So just because of the rise in this concept, I think the government will probably come out with some rules, most stringent rules as to who can issue foreign eSIMs and what kind of procedure needs to be there. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they introduce a law saying that any foreign eSIM app has to collect KYC, passport, any other details from travelers. So
Hmm.
that might be one. More interestingly, so the telecommunications bill came out, Telecommunications Act came out recently, and there was a conference, kind of not a conference, a briefing, press briefing held on
Hmm.
it few days back. Initially, this Telecommunications Act covered messaging apps like WhatsApp and Signal and all that, but the final version which got passed did not. So in
Hmm.
that meeting, someone had asked that should messaging apps require stricter verification methods, because the current way that these apps verify users is OTP.
Hmm.
So when you
Right.
download the app and install, they'll ask you for a phone number and you enter an OTP. Now imagine this scenario where someone has downloaded a foreign eSIM, they have that foreign number, and they use that to get a OTP, and they use their WhatsApp connected to that foreign number to carry out fraud. So this was exactly the example that was given in that meeting, and
Hmm.
they asked the government what are your plans to regulate these kind of apps, and the government indicated that they are looking at regulating messaging apps like WhatsApp, Signal, and they are going to ask them to introduce stricter KYC measures. So
Hmm.
maybe it won't be surprising if in a few months down the lane, if these messaging apps also start requiring you to submit your Aadhaar or passport whenever you create an account in India. So that could be one of the ramifications related to this whole eSIM fraud issue. So those are the two things that I can think of off the top of my mind. On.
If you are in another country, but an Indian citizen, and from there, if you're using the app, would that change the rules? I mean, there we will have to follow the law of the that particular
That will
land.
become an yeah that they just have to follow the land of that land. So for example, if a US airalo is there,
Hmm.
some person in US downloads an Indian eSIM because they're traveling to India. There's nothing that the Indian government can do unless
Hmm.
it comes out with some rule which blocks all Indian mobile networks from providing services to
Hmm.
like these apps or these travelers, which will be a bigger problem, because then the only way for travelers to get an Indian number would be to come to India and go to like a Geo stall or an
Hmm.
Airtel store. So that might be a inconvenience travelers. I don't think the government would go that far. I think the government
Right.
is more concerned with the illegal activities that are taking place in India.
In
So
India.
someone in India downloading an Indian SIM, which they should not be doing. They should actually be going to Geo or Airtel to get an actual SIM through KYC process, not a
Hmm.
traveler's eSIM. That's one concern. And the second concern is someone in India downloading a foreign eSIM and using it for within India.
Hmm.
So those are the two concerns I think they're primarily after. They're not. I don't think they're too concerned about someone abroad downloading the app and getting a
Ah.
and I think that there might be more cases of legitimate uses there, because someone traveling to India would prefer to download one of those SIMs and come to India.
Right.
And you can't clamp down. You can't ask Play Store or App Store to take down the apps in other countries. So
Exactly. All right. Thanks, Sarvesh. For our viewers, if you wish to read more about technology and tech policy related news, do visit our website medianama.com and follow our YouTube channel for similar explainers. Thank you.